All right, everyone. Apparently, Kirsten Gillibrand is having difficulty. Like, some of the big Democratic donors don't want to support her because you'll remember she came out very visibly against Al Franken and said he needed to resign. Earlier this year, when it came out, he had groped up a reporter. He had had problems with being touchy feely or inappropriate with women, and there was actually a photograph of it. Like, this wasn't with Conyers and some of these people where it's like technically he said, she said. With Franken, you had photographic evidence of him groping a sleeping woman. You had a picture of it. He claimed, and this was not corroborated by any evidence. He said, "Oh, no, that just depicts we were doing a skit. We were doing a play. She was pretending to be asleep. I was pretending to be like this sleazy dude. It's just a joke, man." And I'm like, yeah, that sort of falls flat. Who would want Al Franken near their boobs anyway? Like, he's fucking Al Franken. So she's taken flack, actually, from within the Democratic Party. Like, the far left doesn't have a problem with it. But a lot of the neoliberals are like, you shouldn't have thrown Al Franken under the bus. You should have steeled yourself behind him. It's like you've got a photo of him groping someone up. He's in the second stage of Me Too hell. It's not survivable in his case. He doesn't have enough clout to survive such a scandal. It would have been crazy for her to back him, even for politically pragmatic reasons. But the neoliberal corporate donors that control the DNC, they control the Pelosi's, they control the Clintons and so forth, they don't like it. Now, I found this very, very funny. So this is what they're angry about. They're angry about the fact that she refused to back a sexual deviant. Meanwhile, they don't have any problem with the fact that AG in New York, you'll remember, I can't remember his name, the one that was beating his girlfriends allegedly for years, she had visibly backed him. Like, when he was campaigning, she put out an ad. She's like, "Oh, I think he'd be a great guy. Oddly enough, stand for women's rights as AG, like the right abortion and stuff." As though in the state of New York, abortion would ever be challenged anyway, regardless of who the fucking state's attorney general is. They'd be relieved of their post if they ever attacked it. By a Republican governor just as much as by a fucking idiot Cuomo there, who is also unelectable now. Gillibrand literally cut some audio for a campaign ad of his. "Oh, I think he'd be a wonderful guy. He stands so strongly for women's rights." So he stands strongly against his women, that's for sure. He drags them apparently around the room and beats them up. That's the allegation, at least, and so he had to resign. So you're telling me, here's the Democrats' priorities for you. That's not a problem. It's not a problem that Kirsten Gillibrand, who may very well launch a middling 2020 run. She may very well be near the front of the pack if she does, although in polling she's like, in the lowest quartile. I would have expected her to be higher up than that because she's cast herself as that missing link candidate. I think Gabbard and some of these others are maneuvering similarly. So you're telling me the Democrats don't have a problem with the fact that she endorsed this attorney general specifically because mo women. And it turned out that he was actually like beating up his girlfriends and shit, supposedly. But you do have a problem with her calling out Franken for provable perversion. You have a picture proving that he's being perverted with this reporter that says he was. And I think that was released like after she had made the claim. He's like, "No, that never happened." And then she released the pictures. Very funny. That's problematic. But it's not problematic for her to have backed somebody similar to Franken. In fact, worse. Like, I would argue if you're repeatedly like beating up all your girlfriends and stuff over a course of time, I'd argue that that's worse than one instance of situational harassment that we can prove exists for Al Franken. The fucking AG had to step down because of this scandal. Gillibrand was one of the most vocal proponents of his candidacy and of him being in that position. No flack at all. Nobody gives a fuck. Even the far left doesn't give a fuck. But the neoliberals, oh my god, she threw Franken under the bus. She didn't throw him under the bus, you idiots. It would have thrown the whole party under the bus. Ironically, she's right. Pragmatically and ethically speaking. For the ethics, it's like she's a politician. It's opportunism. It's why she threw him under the bus, so-called. But it's the right thing to do. How would the DNC have looked? How would the Democrats have looked if no significant Democrat brought any pressure on Franken? They're like, "Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, there's a picture of him groping this reporter, but, hashtag Me Too only applies to people we don't like. We invite Al Franken to stay on as a senator in the Democratic Party because we're so fucking politically inept we think that that's a good idea." Can you say you would have done poorly in the midterms? Not only would there not been a blue wave, you would have lost a few extra senators. I am sure that the fallout from retaining Al Franken at that time, on female voters especially, certain voting blocks, would have crippled your ability to take as many House seats as you did. It definitely would have thrown a couple extra senators the Republicans' way. So looking at to probably pick up a 53rd Senate seat. Even if not, they pick up, of course, in Florida. They probably would have picked up Arizona at that point. That was a very close race. There wouldn't have been a problem with this special election. I think they would have been at like 55 probably if you had kept Al Franken. And it would have been that significant because it would have negated one of the only effective attack lines they've been using against the GOP, which is Orange Man Bad. Specifically because sexism, Billy Bush tape and stuff. I would say what Al Franken's provably done is considerably worse, and then he resigned. But then he comes out the other day, and I thought this was funny. He comes out and he's like, well, I apologize for making women feel uncomfortable. You didn't make women feel uncomfortable, Al. You groped a woman, took a picture of it, and then tried to cast it off as part of a skit that you were doing with your fellow politically minded individuals, which is completely contradicted by what she's saying. I don't know what to tell you, dude. You don't deserve to be in the Senate. Now, of course, there are plenty of Republicans who've had problems over time. Sometimes they circle the wagons, most often not. The Democrats tend to be the wagon circlers. The Republicans tend to be the ostracizers. Like they will immediately ostracize and turn their back to anyone who's implicated even in a minor scandal within their party. The Democrats are like, oh, well, the other guys are worse, so we don't have a problem with it. Oh yeah, he's like a child predator, but he never raped a baby, so it's okay. He can still be in the U.S. House. That's basically how the Democrats work. The Democrats are just evil. They have been for a while. The Republicans are like cowardly. Like all you have to do is mumble sexism or racism to them. Oh my God, they freak out and they go and they run and they hide their head in the sand like an ostrich. They try to hide. They run. They treat anyone that gets like one of the scarlet letters. The scarlet letter R for racism, for example. Some Republican gets labeled racist, even if there's no legitimate claim. The other Republicans duck and cover because it's like they think that the person's going to explode or something. It's really funny to see. I don't know. No, Gillibrand is right to have done what she did with Franken, but it's like, why are you specifically targeting just Gillibrand? Why is it so interesting to all these people that Gillibrand would say, yeah, he should resign? There were other Democrats calling for it. It's just she happened to be, more high profile than most of them. But then these Dem donors are like, we're not going to give her any money because she didn't want some dude who was groping this woman on fucking a picture here. It's not just a he said, she said situation. It's provable in this case. It's actually tangible photographic evidence. She's a bad person. My goodness, you should have circled the wagons. Yes, I'm sure that would have been good for her probable 2020 run, by the way. Yeah, I defended Al Franken, the serial harassing senator, and said he should stay in the Senate because more Republicans are bad. Yeah, what a campaign slogan. I think that would have been a good one to see. That's about all. Peace out.